Hey everybody, welcome back. So, shocking as it is, truly shocking as it is, they cancelled Batwoman. I know you all want to take a moment to really let that sink in that they cancelled Batwoman. Right? But the media is now trying to scramble to figure out why they cancelled Batwoman. I could tell you why they cancelled Batwoman, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So, CBR come out with this article. What went wrong for the CW's Batwoman? Oh, so much. So much went wrong. I covered in my video I did about when they cancelled Batwoman. But let's see what CBR has to say. Maybe they know something, maybe they figured out something. I mean, these are the people who Marvel and DC usually go to send out their stuff, because they tend to bow at the altar and really, show that they're willing to do whatever to make these things look good despite how crappy they turn out to be. But alright, let's see. Batwoman had a dedicated fan base. Dedicated? Dedicated, you say? Okay. On the CW. But the show was cancelled after 3 seasons, with much more than ratings likely involved in the decision. It was some horrible ratings, but okay, some much more. Let's see. The CW's Batwoman was the toughest Arrowverse show on the CW. From Ruby Rose donning the cape and cowl as Kate Kane to Javicia Leslie succeeding her as Ryan Wilder, the series managed to survive a roller coaster of conflicts that took place behind the scenes. It found a fan base due in large part to the show's commitment to diverse representation, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes. Both Kate and Ryan were portrayed by queer actors, while Batwoman also had a queer showrunner in Caroline Dries. Okay, now, let me stop right there. I want to cover something. This is something people need to understand, something these showrunners, these producers, whatever, need to understand. Twitter is not a real place at all. Just because you have a couple screaming people on Twitter talking about something does not mean they are actually going to watch anything. Does not mean they're actually going to buy anything. Does not mean they actually like anything. These people are professional activists whose only job is to make noise about everything else. They don't care to watch anything. They don't care to like anything. Now, when you say diverse representation, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes, here how you already starting to make yourself look bad right there. Because let me take for instance a show, a series like Why the Last Man. They canceled that after 1 season. I don't know why they even bothered to make it. Why the Last Man? When Why the Last Man ended, I think it was the showrunner or something came on talking about how they had a diverse cast and crew made up of women, and they were diverse in this and that. He spent an entire rant about that show, an entire thing he put out on Twitter about it, and never actually talk about the show itself. This is the exact same thing with Batwoman. When I did my video on the last episode, in fact, that Batwoman had been cancelled, somebody commented and said that I sounded kind of racist, and like I don't like and like I have some kind of problem with gay people or lesbians or whatever. That in itself makes you sound very like you've already drank the Kool-Aid, to put it honestly with you. Why must I like something simply because of the color of somebody's skin and their sexuality? If the show is awful, it is awful. That is what it is. Look at what they put out here. Both Kate and Ryan were portrayed by queer actors, while Batwoman also had a queer showrunner in Carolyn Drake. So you're supposed to like it because all of them queer. That's what you're supposed to do. Because all of them love woman and everything, you're supposed to support that. It doesn't matter if the show is garbage, the writing is crap, the storylines make no sense, and they have no idea what the hell they're doing. No, you're supposed to like it because of the color of somebody's skin and because of their sexuality. I stated in my previous video, I said Javicia Leslie came up with this video talking about how this little black girl came up to her and told her how much she liked her, and she was so touched, and it was such cliched nonsense. But that has always been used to show that, you know, we touching these people of certain ethnicities or that kind of thing. No. Why must it always be because you were playing the race card to try and get your show renewed? How you reaching out to members of the black community? No, you're supposed to reach out to everybody. People must not look at your show and say to themselves, well, okay, it's a black woman here, and let's watch this. No, you're supposed to have a compelling and interesting character that will draw people in, and you did not have that at all. Let's go on. However, the economic landscape around the show changed during its 3 seasons. AT&T owned and oversaw Warner Media until the company decided to leave the entertainment industry in 2021. Warner Media was sold to Discovery Inc., with their merger being finalized in April 2022. However, months before Warner Media re-established itself as Warner Brothers Discovery, both CBS and Warner Brothers had already decided to sell the CW. Rumors about multiple show cancellations were circulating in early April, and on April 29, 2022, both Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow were cancelled. However, it wasn't just the corporate musical chairs that did the show in. Let's see what else. While no official explanation has been given as to why Batwoman was ultimately cancelled, probably had nothing to do with it being completely dogshit garbage and just losing ratings and viewerships all the time, there are a myriad of circumstances that may have factored into that decision, beginning with the fact that the production was seemingly doomed from the start. Yes, it was. The character of Kate Kane made her Arrowverse debut in the crossover event Elseworlds to high acclaim. Not only was Ruby Rose well received for her portrayal of Kate Kane, Batwoman, but fans were pumped to see her get her own series. After just 1 season, however, Rose left Batwoman and caught fans completely off guard. Okay, now let me say this. Batwoman is a tokenized version of Batman. We understand that. But that doesn't mean the character can't be interesting. In the comics, there's a dynamic between Batman and Batwoman and the whole Bat family. She does things a little different from them that causes some conflict sometimes. She has her own story, her own way of doing things. Okay, that may have worked had they done it correctly. But from the get-go, once the trailer started, you could see where this was going, because in the trailer you had Ruby Rose saying that saying about the bat suit, and it will fit well when it's made for a woman. And for the first season, all you got from Batwoman for 80% of the show was lesbian love drama. 10% of it was whatever family crap was going on in the background. You had 5% of she as Batwoman, and another 5% of them trying to figure out what the hell they were doing there every day. You made this show, and the only aspect you pushed with it was the fact of it being led, run, pushed, garnered, giving traction to lesbians. That was it. That was all the show had going for it. There were no good stories. There were no good, interesting facts. There was nothing going on. You had all this other nonsense with Alice and all kind of thing who you were trying to make You're trying to make Alice be like some kind of joker, but she always felt like a confused whack job who never knew what she was doing. And throughout the 3 seasons, they just run that character into the ground. As far as I know, I only watch like clips of it online or something, or when as from he was if he was doing reviews, that was it. Other than that, no. You never gave that show what it was about. People tune into superhero shows to see superheroes. And when you only give less than 5%, sometimes 5% if you're lucky, less than 5% of them actually being superheroes and the rest of it is just a bunch of lesbian things, it becomes a problem because even the people you are appealing to weren't watching it. And you didn't learn that. You didn't learn that lesson at all, and you kept pushing it because what you were figuring is that, as long as you keep pushing the queer angle, people are going to watch. And when it is Ruby Rose left at the end of season 1, and I still maintain she left because she realized that show was garbage. Despite all the fact that she got injured and all that kind of thing, and I hope she's okay and all of that, I figured to myself she left because she figured that show was garbage and she was right, so she left. You brought in Javicia Leslie, and you then went on to push the fact not only is she queer, she's black. So you have to watch them. Anytime people didn't like it, you went on and attacked them and called them racist, called them homophobes, whatever. Let's move on. While it was eventually revealed that Rose had sustained injuries while filming the first season, the full extent of the problem behind the scenes wouldn't be disclosed until a year later. Before it got to that point, however, an even more surprising development happened. Instead of recasting the role of Kate Kane, Batwoman's creative team replaced her with an original character created specifically for the TV show named Ryan Wilder. Between losing its lead actor and writing the original protagonist out of the story, reception to the show's new status quo was mixed. What helped keep fans interested was the casting of Javicia Leslie as Ryan. This was groundbreaking as it was the first time a black bisexual actress got to don the cape and cowl of Batwoman on television. Again, this is what you're pushing. This is what you're pushing. Not about the actual actor, not about the actual actress, not about the actual story. No, black bisexual actress. But their casting choice didn't do much to mitigate the narrative problems that followed in season 2, especially considering Kate's story hadn't been fully wrapped up at the end of season 1. Now, when they, again as they say here in this story, they brought in Javicia Leslie as Ryan Wilder, and they just kept pushing it there, and it became an issue from that point on. But let's move on. Season 2 got off to an abrupt start with Kate's off-screen death in a plane crash. Yeah, killed in a plane crash, and then the Batsuit literally dropped in front of Ryan Wilder. While this couldn't be helped due to the circumstances of Rose's departure, it also didn't do much to facilitate Ryan's introduction. Ryan had no connection to Kate apart from having found her Batsuit in the plane's wreckage and then using it to avenge her mother's death. This created a major narrative problem. Ryan was burdened with the inevitable task of being the hero of her own storyline, and at the same time being forced to wrap up the loose threads of Kate's narrative. The storytelling in season 2 was disjointed as it vacillated between the two goals. Look, the fact of the matter is, after the first episode of this show, the ratings started to drop drastically. It wasn't just to say that it's not fair to say, well, at season 2 that they get worse. It was going downhill from the first episode, and they did nothing to improve on it. In another strange creative choice, the role of Kate was eventually recast with Wallace Day. Right? They specifically said that they were not going to do that. Then they turn around and do it. Now I have no problem with Wallace Day. Beautiful woman, I have no problem with she on the other. I must say, I do have a problem with her in this role. But I liked her on Krypton, this series. I liked her on Krypton, this series. I have no problem with her. But it never got any better. And the change was explained as a result of plastic surgery. All this worn out, overused garbage plot they have. Let's use plastic surgery to change this person's face, and then that will explain why this person looks different. Kate reappeared in season 2 as having been brainwashed into thinking she was Black Master. Okay, you know what? I'm not going through all of this nonsense. We know what happened. We know it wasn't good. Look, the fact of the matter is, this show declined miserably because they had no plan going in. They had no idea what they were doing. They had no care as to what. All they figured they had to do was push one angle and back it up with 2 or 3 others, and that would have made a successful show. It didn't. You push the queer angle down people's throats who don't want it. You appeal to an audience on Twitter who supports nothing. You then ran backwards and said, okay, let's push the fact that we have a black queer woman to the front and make that seem like it's going to be good. No. The show made no sense. None. I mean, you could point to literally every episode of this show you could point to and find several horrific things wrong with it. I remember this episode where something to do with Killer Croc or something. So I saw a part of it with Killer Croc, who just attacked some people at a swimming pool and blood everywhere. Could have police crime scene tape up, and the reporter standing right in front of the thing. There you see the blood and everything in the background, and they reported to the police and said, okay, come in, take pictures of the horrible mangled crime scene. They didn't put any thought into this show whatsoever. And yet another show that is getting even worse than this is Naomi. Because why? When it comes to Naomi, they went out and said that Naomi is going to focus solely on identity politics. The show is garbage. The same thing as Batwoman. You all have to understand, people are not out to destroy you to say that they don't like something, but if you produce crap, you cannot expect people to say, well, okay, they are going to watch it simply because you have somebody who's black, you have somebody who's this, you have somebody who's that. No. That is not the fault, that is not the responsibility of the fans to like something you put out if it's not good. You cannot create anything to save your lives. You made this garbage, it went downhill. Why did Batwoman fail? Well, to answer this question, what went wrong for the CW Batwoman? You made garbage, and this was what you got in return for it. That's the long and short of it. Anyway, let me all know what you think about this in the comments. If you believe differently, if you thought the show had some merit to it, please let me know. If you like the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, ring the notification bell, and I shall see you all next time. Take care.